And we're live. So, welcome, Mr. Jeremy Lee, aka Hello. Welcome to the waiting room, Jeremy. Thank you for doing this.
Welcome, welcome,
You're very
welcome.
welcome. Thank you so
Hello,
much for having me.
hello.
Yeah, that
Usually
part.
we say
Yeah.
welcome to hell, but today we say hell,
Well,
welcome.
well, well, welcome to the waiting room.
Hello, welcome. How
How's it
many
hanging,
times
man?
must he have heard all these jokes, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and all the Lionel Richie and Adele references. So nothing's new for me.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Lionel Richie's okay. I don't know about the Adele thing. It's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, no offense to Adele fans, but yeah, that's horrible.
No, every offense to them. Every offense. Okay, so we'll get right down to it. Doom folk.
Yeah.
What's doom folk in your views? And your own words, what do you regard as doom folk?
So Doomfolk was a term that I came up with basically trying to differentiate myself from the fucking twee stuff that was coming out of Singapore,
Oh,
Because
don't,
folk is
it wasn't just coming out of Singapore. It was coming out of absolutely everywhere for a certain period of time.
yeah, I mean,
Mumford and Sons have got a lot to answer for.
I was gonna just mention Mumford and
Yeah,
Sons
they
and
have a
Of Monsters
lot
and
they
Men and
fucking
all that
answer for.
shit.
Yeah.
Those
Uh,
whoosh.
And I'm glad you used the word twee because we use the word twee in Ireland as well. To describe that sort of music, it's just twee music. It's just twee twee. So we had people who were on proper indie bands. They sounded like Two Door Cinema Club and bands like that. And next, they were wearing peak caps and cord jackets, and they had a violin player in their band. And we're like, well, where the fuck does this come from?
They spend more on they spend more on the costume than on the equipment, man.
Yeah, that's what it was.
yeah,
So anyway,
I mean
right?
it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, folk kind of like became a dirty word because everyone who once you say I'm a fucking folk singer songwriter, they're like, huh?
Yeah.
So are you like, you know, Bon Iver? No, I'm not. I don't do that kind. I don't do that kind of stuff. I I might listen to the music once in a while when I'm feeling really, really depressed and need a little like pickup. But folk music has its origins in like protest music.
Of course.
It was the original protest
Yeah,
music,
it was. It was indeed.
and
Guthrie,
and
uh,
yeah, you
uh,
know,
the whole Dharma bombs, all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
Pete Seeger and
yeah.
so on. So those are the authentic roots of folk, but because it's played in a certain way, maybe with jangly guitars and so on, it becomes this whole like let's guitars kind of sweet singing voices that must be folk,
Yeah.
you know. And I wanted to kind of change the convention of what folk is by, well, firstly, if you've listened to any of the music, it is, I would say, melancholic, maybe
It's quite. It's
rather
like
depressing,
no, no.
perhaps.
It's very dark. It's very dark. But but as an old goth, I'm an old goth. Like dark music is very uplifting for me, so I enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I just spent the day listening to a lot of your live stuff and stuff like that, and it's like I was going, yeah. So I was texting Asma, I was going, is this guy an old goth? And Asma, well, he's around about our age, but I don't know. I'm not too sure what he's into. I go, there's
Well,
definitely. I'm hearing some old like Bauhaus and the kind of the vocal stylings and stuff like that. Some old like there's a bit of hypo negative there and stuff like that. And especially how you use your voice is very baritone, very low resonating, but it's
yeah,
done in a good way. Like,
it's so oddly enough, I used to be in when I was younger, I was in hardcore bands and punk bands. So that was me growing up, and that kind of informed the musical choices I made as I
yeah,
grew up. But perhaps when I reached a certain age, the thought of headbanging and kind of writing songs about fuck the police and so on just didn't quite resonate with who I was.
no, I
So
I
I mean,
understand. It becomes
yeah,
that's good for a certain period of a certain person's times, like because it's it seems the anger and the aggression seems good because as an old metalhead myself, like and stuff like that, and it's fine, but you have to get more nuance then in what you want to write, and especially in your lyrical content. Saying "fuck the police" is all well and good, but like, what does it mean? What do you want to do with that sort of anger and
No, exactly.
ideology? Like, is it just rebellion for the sake of rebellion, or do you offer anything above that? So like, once you start getting older, you start getting the ideas of, okay, I'm seeing what's going on in the world. I might have something to give rather than just scream slogans.
So I think that is part of the paradox as well, because punk music has so much to give in terms of how it informs the politics of young people, but it only informs a very small subset of people in that sense. Whereas folk music, because it is inherently slightly more melodic and better on the ears, if you have a message that is concealed within, a slightly nicer musical arrangement, more people will be open to listening to it. More people will be open to rethinking what they do. I mean, look at what Asmil does, right? And the music that he writes. It is kind of like, it's straight up unembellished folk rock-ish with a little bit of punk in it. But the message, the messages are very strong.
Yep.
So I think that is important as a singer-songwriter to have that strong conviction of message.
It's
And then
it's important for. I probably have never. I don't think I've ever asked Asmil this. So the fact that we've got both these together now, both Brendan and Fabian are both singer-songwriters as well. But they're by no stretch of imagination either political or protests. You would call them protest singers.
Mine's political love.
Does
Protest the girlfriend.
is the
protest. The girlfriend, the boyfriend, all.
Is your message really important for your songs, or does a good song come first, if you know what I mean, or is the idea of what you want to say first, and then you write a song to suit that ideology?
So are you posing that question to me or Brendan?
Both you and Asmil, because both these both these both these write in similar genres to a certain extent. You both definitely have similar subject matter. You both write about your own country and your experiences within said country. So does the experience come first, and then you write a song to suit that fucking outlet, and that gives you the outlet?
For me, I gotta enjoy it first. Whether the message is at time, I mean, it depends. It's never fixed. Sometimes secondary, sometimes it's stream of conscious. I've never really sat down and this is what I want to do. It's not an essay. That's kind of boring, right?
For you never actually sat down and went, right, I'm pissed off at this, so I'm going to write a song about this.
Yeah.
It's been more.
Or I can be pissed off, but I can be more. What's the word again? Impressionistic, maybe. I just broad strokes and hopefully something hits something.
Jeremy, what about you?
I think I agree with Asmil, because usually in terms of my songwriting process, it starts off with a melody or a chord progression or something that I noodle on guitar and think it's cool.
Yeah.
But there are always thoughts percolating in my mind about issues that I want to sing about. So I may not necessarily set out to write a song about casual racism among the Chinese majority in Singapore, but once the music kind of comes out, then what's going on in my mind naturally becomes the lyrics for that thing. So these are the things that I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about fucking racism in Singapore, about Chinese privilege, because Chinese people in Singapore just don't realize how lucky we are, and trying to communicate that to a larger audience, and things like authoritarianism, can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
That word, I mean, you can't pronounce it either, but
I don't want to pronounce it. No, we should not pronounce anything. No, we should not pronounce it properly. It doesn't deserve to be pronounced properly. Yeah.
You pronounce
don't pronounce it properly. That's That's a protest
Yeah.
itself.